everyone. My name is Ryan. This is my wife Janine, and you're watching the Better Living Concepts Sunfood Diet Success Book Club. We are in the middle of, as you know, David Wolfe's book, The Sunfood Diet Success System. And we are quite literally, I think, halfway through. This is lesson 17, and he titles this My Personal Diet. And I think this is a great spot to just sort of recap a little bit of what we've come through already. And so I really love how he started this book by the first 6 lessons, really dealing with your mindset and then laying a foundation for getting to this point where he's talking about his personal diet. So he's talking about different, like the food triangle and things like that, and detoxification. And that really just lays the groundwork for this chapter. And so anything you want to share before we dive in?
Nope.
No, you're good?
I'm good.
All right.
A great book so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's go ahead and listen to the reading, and then we'll be back in just a little bit and share some thoughts with you. The Sunfood Diet Success System by David Wolfe. Lesson 17, My Personal Diet. Words alone cannot describe the level of health I have been privileged to attain eating a 100% raw plant food diet. All that comes to mind is that I feel an immense gratitude. I feel incredibly fortunate to have even found or discovered the type of health information I have included in this book. I feel honored to be able to share this information with others. When I went raw, I began to study the simple things, like my fingers and toes. I marveled at their dexterity and the functions they served. I became very aware of all my bodily systems: respiratory, circulatory, cardiac, glandular, reproductive, neurological, and digestive. I was awestruck at the efficiency of our human organs. How could I ever have taken my body for granted? How could anyone? It was like being a billionaire and not realizing that you were rich. I thought about the less tangible things like sleep cycles, dreams, synchronicity, and the true nature of life. I was filled with a newfound reverence for all living and non-living things. I think about things differently now. My outlook on life is something I would describe as glorious. Life is so grand, so incredible, so full of amazement. What can match the grasp of a child's hand in your own? The crisp flavor of a fresh-picked apple, the kiss of a friend or lover, the smell of a spring breeze, the sunlight penetrating your naked body, the inspiration of highly emotional music, the feel of sand beneath bare feet, the flow of ocean water through your hair in the midsummer. When I initially embarked on the raw path, I was faced with overcoming addictions to bread and corn chips. I was losing a lot of weight. My face was changing, and I did not look my best. In the midst of this, a wave of peer pressure from friends, family, and relatives descended upon me, but I persevered. Throughout the process, 2 thoughts were dominant in my mind. Jim Rohn's saying, "For every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward." And Andrew Carnegie's saying, "Anything worth having is worth working for." I kept pushing forward, reading and learning. I began to find that I was transforming in a most profound way, and other people were noticing it. I found that many would take the time to listen to what I had to say. I found I was attracting certain people who were acting upon the raw food information. I stopped trying to convince doubting friends and family and started teaching this diet system to people with dreams. I found I had to walk my talk. To really inspire others to become healthy, I had to become incredibly healthy myself. Many of the spiritual books I have read advise that addictions should not be fought, that they dissolve away when the mind is right. This may be good advice for some, but it did not work for me. I had to fight and conquer processed food addictions, and I succeeded, and so can you. I feel incredibly fortunate for having created the opportunity to communicate the raw nutrition message through mass media, radio, television, magazines, newspapers, and the internet. Over the years, I have had the incredible privilege of meeting and communicating with thousands of raw foodists the world over. The internet and email have allowed communication and networking on this subject to reach a remarkable level. The time for this information to reach a worldwide audience has come. Through my seminars, retreats, books, websites, exotic raw foods, video recordings, and audio recordings, I am helping, along with all other raw foodists, to chart uncharted territory. I believe I'm helping to do for nutrition what Roger Bannister did for running when he broke the 4-minute mile barrier. Bannister overcame all the doubters and pessimists. What was once considered impossible became possible. The year after Bannister broke the 4-minute mile, 37 other runners broke the 4-minute mile, and many thousands have done it since. Did human physiology change? No. What changed were the beliefs about human physiology. Remember, if one person can achieve the unachievable, then what is possible forever changes. A Sunfood diet, when balanced correctly with the Sunfood triangle and other tools, creates a path to achieve eternal, resonating beauty. This is such an incredible secret. I feel the Sunfood diet turned me into a lovely being, alive in each recess, capable of understanding every feeling, soothed and healed of past injuries. It taught me that excellent health is essential to truly enjoying every moment of life. Perhaps I was predestined to be a raw foodist. My ethnic heritage comes from Persia, where there is a long history of raw foodism and veganism. In fact, in the Persian language, Farsi, there is a specific term for raw foodists, Kom Gia Kori, raw plant eater. This term is about as popular in Persia as the word vegan in the United States. My diet may at first seem limited compared to the standard fast food diet called moderation, but the way I eat is actually filled with great pleasure because I have developed the capacity to enjoy the simplest foods, and so can you. In my personal life, the longer I've eaten raw, the more I find I prefer to eat alone, standing up, in a meditational state, listening to success tapes, or reading books. I love eating the best food ever. I am often asked what I eat. I usually drink a lot more than I eat. I might consume the following in a typical day. 1 or 2 avocados, 5 to 10 ripe olives and or 35 to 45 pumpkin seeds. 2 1 to 2 pounds of celery, lettuce, kale, and or wild green food picked or harvested from my gardens or foraged from the canyons near my house, consumed mostly as a green juice. 3 2 to 3 handfuls of citrus fruit, apples, berries, or other juicy fruit in season. Peaches, plums, nectarines, mangoes, etc. Sometimes I'll add these to a smoothie. 4 1 or 2 ripe hot peppers, usually jalapeno or habanero. 5 2 to 4 strips of nori or dulse seaweed. 6 3 to 4 tablespoons of spirulina, bee pollen, maca, goji berries, and other superfoods. Often these are blended into a morning smoothie with some of the fruits mentioned above. And 7 15 to 20 cacao beans or raw chocolate nuts. These may also be blended into an evening smoothie with aloe vera, superfoods, and water. I typically eat 2 large meals a day, one at 11 a.m., usually a superfood smoothie, the other at 7 p.m., usually a salad. This works wonderfully for me. I may snack between these meals on fruits, seeds, or juices. I love to eat green leafy vegetables. I chew them like gum sometimes if I'm bored. I have found that bitter green foods are very healing. When you cultivate a taste for bitter food, you will see a marked improvement in your health. Ripe hot peppers are one of my favorite foods. For centuries, herbalists have told us of the beneficial effects of hot cayenne peppers in healing heart conditions. Hot peppers are also great for stimulating the digestive tract and for burning out parasites in the intestines. These foods are natural antibiotics, and they contain an excellent quantity of liver-supporting sulfur, the type of sulfur needed to produce glowing skin, hair, and nails is of another type found in aloe vera, spirulina, hemp seed, and MSM powder. From both my experience and the experience of other longtime raw foodists, I definitely disagree with the natural hygiene philosophy of including no hot peppers and other spicy raw foods, onions, garlic, and ginger, in the diet. These foods play important roles for some body types. For example, Ayurvedic Kapha body types are balanced by these foods, even though they may unbalance other body types, such as Ayurvedic Pitta body types being aggravated by hot chilies. I do not eat complex raw food recipe dishes often. In the beginning, when I had weaker digestion, a recipe for me was usually for disaster. Now, I love the experience of raw food restaurants. Raw restaurants and raw recipe books are excellent dietary tools and fun for family, friends, and parties. There are dozens of raw food recipe books available. There are more and more raw food restaurants opening up all around the world. See the raw food restaurant section in the end of this book. There are also many fantastic chefs who specialize in uncooking. Many commercial supplements are lifeless and overwhelm and confuse the body with too many concentrated synthetic elements. Petrochemical vitamin pills, non-soluble mineral tablets, heavy colloidal mineral tinctures, animal protein powders, and etc. I only consume the highest quality, naturally derived supplements. I particularly enjoy MSM powder, beauty enzymes, blue mangosteen, antioxidants, angstrom minerals, fully mineralized sea or rock salts, and others. In my opinion, high-quality organic foods and superfoods are the best sources of nutrients and supplements there are to enhance specific needs, requirements, and/or desired nutritional goals. My thoughts have changed on supplements over the years. I began years ago with the opinion that they are necessary. Through experience, I now feel that high-quality supplements can be quite helpful. If you feel too restricted eating exactly what I recommend, you can always take up the fallback position. Eat a wider variety of raw plant foods, including fruits, vegetables, herbs, nuts, seeds, sprouts, sea vegetables, raw plant food recipes, etc. Remember, the initial goal here is to eat as much raw plant food as we can adjust into our diet. Make your nutrition fun. Water. I am often asked what I do for water. The best book I have found on the subject of water is Living Energies by Callum Coates. Living Energies is essentially a compendium of the greatest pieces of research done by Austrian water wizard Victor Schauberger. I have always felt a close affinity with the Greek philosopher Thales, who believed that everything on earth consists of various quantities of water, and that water is the basic substance of all matter. Later, by studying the writings of Victor Schauberger, I found Thales' philosophy detailed scientifically. Hydrogen apparently cannot be completely disassociated from oxygen. Water cannot be destroyed. That is why a catalyst is always required to conduct electrolysis in pure water. Because the catalyst is changed due to electrolysis, it is then not a true catalyst and indicates some deeper scientific truth underlies the reaction. Victor Schauberger's philosophy focuses on the ennoblement of water. Life is about ennobling water in a dynamic interaction between the heavens and the earth. Essentially, Victor Schauberger and many spiritual adepts throughout history have understood that water responds to our thoughts and intentions. Water is a living, conscious entity. Dr. Masaru Emoto has demonstrated this fact in his books, The Messages of Water, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Victor Schauberger states emphatically that the best water to drink is fresh spring water coming forth from the earth at cold temperatures, preferably 39.2 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. I personally drink fresh spring water and glacial runoff water in copious amounts whenever possible. However, when living in a city, I typically do not drink much water due to quality concerns and also because the raw foods I eat already contain high quality water. My water consumption ranges between 0.5 liters and 1.5 liters per day. I used to consume distilled water and found it lifeless and depleting after several years. One positive benefit of distilled water is that it is uncontaminated blank tape that can be re-enlivened. I learned to add substances to it to bring distilled water or any bottled water back to life, such as lemon, lime, blades of grass, green herbs, sea or rock salts, MSM powder, and or Dr. Patrick Flanagan's Crystal Energy, a mineral product that makes water wetter. Whenever possible, I store my water in a clay egg container per the recommendation and design of Victor Schauberger. When I remember, I take a moment and bless my water before drinking it. I also write the word love on my water drinking glasses. This may sound like a wild New Age idea, but it has been scientifically shown by Dr. Emoto to favorably alter the structure of water. Part of my core philosophy is to stack the odds in my favor whenever possible. Whenever possible, avoid distilled water bottled in plastic. Distilled water is mineral hungry and tends to draw substances including plastic into itself. Plastic mimics estrogen, the female sex hormone, inside the body. Trinity Springs water is my personal favorite commercially available bottled spring water, even though I am other than excited about the plastic bottling. Other spring waters, such as high-end Grander water, bottled in glass, are great. Gardening. By eating raw plant foods, I believe you will become deeply interested in gardening as I have. Gardening cultivates an intimate connection between you, the plants, the sun, and the earth. Gardening nourishes us twice. Once by the exercise involved in creating the garden, and again when we eat the food. In my own life, my garden continues to show me new ways to experience and explore the earth's mysteries. Growing plants compels us to eat our food in its natural raw state because of all the energy we have put into harvesting the food. It compels us to compost our food scraps and to improve the soil each year. Growing our own food decreases pollution because it reduces our participation in the transportation and or packaging challenges incurred by shipping food. In the great outdoors, you can never grow bored, not weary, but will remain content and joyful. All my ills my garden spade, wrote Emerson. The most contented and happy people are those who breathe in the rich vapors of their home garden. I know that is where I feel best. The essence of my entire message is found in growing gardens, living as close to nature as possible, and in making friends with the animals. It is in doing those things that all may be learned. I am reminded of the maxim, before a person may govern a city, she or he must first be able to govern the garden. I find gardening one of life's greatest pleasures, and watching fruit trees grow from seed to maturity one of the secrets of longevity. The greatest books I have ever discovered in the field of gardening include Secrets of the Soil by Christopher Bird and Peter Tompkins, Sea Energy Agriculture by Maynard Murray, The Fertile Earth by Callum Coates about Victor Schauberger, and Paramagnetism by Philip Callahan. Action steps. My personal diet. 1. My challenge for this lesson is for you to begin bringing plants into your life. Start with simple house plants, sprouting trays, a greenhouse, and or a backyard garden. 2. Eating raw plant food is the way to live in total harmony with the earth. What if you took all the fruit and vegetable remnants left over from what you ate and instead of throwing them away, you use them to fertilize your plants? 3. Make your home beautiful. The abode of the Sunfoodist is rich and luxuriant. It is filled in one place with exotic fruit trees and garden herbs, all fertilized by the compost of a plentiful Sunfood lifestyle. It is recognized as a special place of massive abundance. And 4, become a fully activated human being. Read and take action on the information contained in the gardening books mentioned on the previous page. Wow, there he did it again, didn't he?
Yes, that was really great.
Yeah, lesson 17, my personal diet, another power-packed lesson, short to an extent, but just solid with good quality information. What did you take away from it?
Okay, so this chapter he really talks about himself and how proud he is really of being a pioneer in this raw food industry. I thought he said that really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so true.
Right.
Right. I think he started off by just talking about how eating raw food makes him think of creation.
Yeah.
And in a sense, how we're formed. And he was looking at his fingers, I think, and just really amazed with his body, and that he felt that raw food helped him do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. And, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And, it's amazing to me the creation on the whole and how synergistic everything relates. Regardless if we're talking about food or water or gardening or air or breathing or whatever it is, the ecosystem of all of that is just phenomenal, and a really great place to start and dive in and actually understand what it is all about. Yeah.
So let's see. He says that he looks at life differently now, describes it as glorious.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. He was initially faced with addictions, corn chips and things like that.
Yeah, the carb addiction.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I think we all sort of suffer with that, or have suffered with that.
Yeah, his face was changing, and he kept pushing forward. Found he had to walk his talk.
Right.
Another thing that we kind of all struggle with.
Yeah, absolutely.
He feels incredibly fortunate for, as I said before, having created this movement in many ways.
Yeah, he certainly was a pioneer. There were other people even before him that were talking about stuff, but he took it to a whole new level.
Yeah, he really did.
The commitment that he has to this industry and to this level of information, in my estimation, it's unparalleled.
Yes, the retreats, the books, websites, recordings, just lots of stuff. This book being really a very key player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Timeless.
Yes, I think so. Anything more on that first section? He talked about plant eater, the word vegan. Let's see. My diet may at first seem limited compared to the standard fast food diet, but the way I eat is actually filled with great pleasure.
And I think really that's the key. So often I think people come to this place of in their thinking that to go this direction is
Can be deprivation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a great word for it. That they're depriving themselves of the finer things of life or the fun, enjoyable things. But really, what I think he brings out is that this way of fueling your body can be equally as enjoyable. And I think once you kind of get past that purification stage is really where you start to recognize the difference. The energy that you have, the vibrancy, your skin is alive, you just feel powerful. And so to me, that's kind of a different way of looking at this kind of eating. You know, as opposed to enjoying pastries and bread and things like that. Yeah, it's enjoyable, but that's kind of more feeding your own personal desire, right? And this is kind of more playing into the things that
elevate.
That elevate. Yeah, that's a great word. Yeah.
So the next he talks about water, I think.
Yes.
Right? And boy, that was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
That water is a living thing, living being on its own.
Yeah.
And we've tried putting words on the glasses and things like that. That was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else about water that you want?
Well, I mean, it's really kind of one of those areas. In fact, water is one of our 10 concepts, and we'll do a much deeper dive on that when we go into that concept. But
cleansing.
I think that water in of itself is basically the lifeblood.
Yes.
Of not only the main component that makes up our bodily fluids and is intricate in the life of every cell in our body, but it's really the lifeblood of this planet.
Yeah, it is.
And there's almost nothing more important, short of air. There's almost nothing more important than water.
Yeah.
Good quality water, I should say.
Yes. Yes.
So then the question becomes, how do you get that good quality water? And I think it probably starts with the spring water, as you mentioned. Yeah.
Yes. That he used to consume distilled water, found it lifeless, depleting. I've had some problems with distilled water. I can kind of feel the difference.
Absolutely.
It does feel depleting to me. Yeah, whenever possible, avoid distilled water bottled in plastic. And it's mineral hungry. What else? Oh, that he takes a moment to bless his water before drinking it.
Yes.
Also writes the word love on his drinking glasses.
That's right. I thought that was fascinating, and that's one area that I really do want to dig deeper into. The Victor Schauberger and what was the Emoto fella, I think that was his name. But just understanding the structure of water and how it actually, in essence, communicates.
Yeah.
By way of its energy, and the fact that it understands and recognizes that your thoughts is stunning.
Yeah.
You know, there was another book that I read not too long ago. I can't remember the name of it. I'll see if I can figure that out. But he was talking about an experiment where two glasses were side by side, and you could actually the one water could affect the other. And that's just in a nutshell, but that goes much deeper. But absolutely fascinating, the memory that water has.
Yes. So Dr. Masaru Emoto, The Messages of Water, volumes 1, 2, 3. And then he ends the chapter with gardening. I thought that was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Growing plants compels us to eat our food in its natural raw state because of all the energy we have put into harvesting the food.
Yeah.
It compels us to compost our food scraps and to improve the soil each year. Growing our own food decreases pollution because it reduces our participation in the transportation and or packaging challenges incurred by shipping food.
Well said.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I can see the value of, getting your hands dirty in the dirt. It's all part of the grounding process, right?
That's right.
And so you are in essence communicating with the soil, and just enjoying that interaction. And you get from the earth that which you give.
Yes, very true.
And vice versa, really. And so it's powerful. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the day that we have a little plot of ground that we can.
Bigger than the space we have now.
Yeah, bigger than the space we have now, that we can really do some deep gardening.
That'll be cool, yeah. So he ends with, before a person may govern a city, he or she must first be able to govern a garden.
Interesting, right? If you're trying to govern a garden,
yes,
and you don't have the proverbial green thumb, I'm one that believes that anybody can learn to garden, right? Anybody can grow a good garden. It might take a season or two to learn how to grow a specific plant.
Yes.
But anybody can learn. And if you can't, then I think this is a totally appropriate statement.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I think that's that there's so much that goes on in managing a garden.
Very true.
Right? If you're not able to understand how to feed that garden, how to maintain it, how to prune, how to, you know, all of that. All of those elements in growing a garden is, you know, paramount in leadership.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking about my little garden for the last several years that we've had with, you know, flowers and herbs and the birds that have come and made a nest in there, and that you care about them in each season. You have to know when to, you know, get the bugs off and when to bring them inside for the frost. And there's such joy with seeing them grow and, in a sense, bear fruit or flower. And then to be able to go out and just snip, you know, some basil or something from your garden is really, it's a fun thing to do. Yeah.
And I love the interplay with the rest of nature.
Yes.
You know.
The bees.
Yes. And
hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, and we have some local birds here that we call juncos. They're very much like a sparrow that have used our flower beds on a couple of occasions to lay their eggs, and what a joy to watch that process and to see them hatch and to fly off. And
But there's something extra exciting, I think, about being able to pull food from the garden.
Yes.
You know, it's a special feeling.
I agree.
So he ends up by saying, I find gardening one of life's greatest pleasures, and watching fruit trees grow from seed to maturity, one of the secrets of longevity.
Yep.
Yeah. Makes me think about my grandfather who had an orchard and just loved to plant things.
Yes. Yeah, your grandfather was, he was everything as far as like, you know, animal husbandry, gardening, fruit trees, fishing, you know, really just living off the land.
Yes.
And just a tremendous amount of fruit coming from that. And not just actual fruit, but all kinds of fruit bearing in that lifestyle.
Yeah. He really did love to plant and to harvest fruit that he had cultivated. He loved it. Yeah. So, sounds like David does too.
I think so. Yeah.
So the exercises, well, he ends with some great books. He recommends some great books.
Yes.
So got to get those. And, I liked this in terms of what the activities to do. This one really kind of struck me. Make your home beautiful.
Right.
The abode of the Sunfoodist is rich and luxuriant. It's filled in one place with exotic fruit trees and garden herbs, all fertilized by the compost of a plentiful Sunfood lifestyle. It is recognized as a special place of massive abundance.
Yeah. That's a great one. I would even add to that, you know, that if you maintain your home like you maintain your garden, your home will bear fruit.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? And maybe that fruit that's being born is the relationships that you build. You know, maybe that has to do with the type of people that come over and that you entertain, and that they see what you've got going on. But maintaining your home in a way that
bears fruit. Your whole life in terms of that. Very good.
Yeah, just a thought.
Yeah, love it.
Well, thank you again for joining us this week. We hope you enjoyed this time and found some value in this lesson. Go ahead and dig deep on it, because I think you'll find that if you implement some of these strategies, that you'll have some success as well. You'll feel the vibrancy, you'll feel the energy, and you'll be changed. And so that's what our hope